Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So as the description of this video says, we're going to do a remix on a layout I did a few weeks ago in here that featured the Melon Mania artwork from the advertising. So I created my version of it. We called it Chrisified the artwork. And so today I'm going to do a little bit, good morning, I'm going to do a little bit of a remix on that. And we have a new campaign called For Always. Earlier today, I actually did a walkthrough, a video of my scrapbooking workshop. And so I thought this would be a fun kind of companion video to go along with that. If you want to know any more details about my For Always scrapbooking workshop, make sure to check out my blog at chrisscreativelife.com. So I'm going to add my desk in here because I've got a lot of things to say or show you and say. I always have a lot of things to say, but okay. So I'm going to turn on one more light to give us a little bit more light on the situation. Okay, so here is the layout that I created a couple weeks ago. So like I said, it was my take on the advertising for the Melon Mania. And so I thought it would be fun today to remix it and throw in the For Always collection. But before we go to that, also in the description, you'll notice I referred to, I have a resource that came out as part of my newsletter last week. And so I put together a pile of combinations of colors that could be used with melon. So it's just kind of a fun reference for you to be able to print out and use later in your scrapbooking or card making. Because when we have a color of the year, obviously, you know that color of the year is not going to be around still next year. So like I said, there are 5 different combinations of colors that you could use to complement melon. And so if you want this resource and you haven't downloaded it yet, you can use the link that is in the description above, and it'll take you to the right place to be able to download the resource. If you can't get that to work, if you comment chart here on the video, I'll come back and I will add that link in after I'm finished creating the new version. Okay, so I'll try and remember to say something too at the end for somebody that maybe misses it here at the beginning. So there's that. So it's always good to be on the newsletter list because you never know what you might get to your inbox on the weekend. So typically my newsletter does go out once a week. It goes out on the weekend. And there's all sorts of fun things in there. So lots of things like recaps of if I've done a live that week, or just general tips, or like I said, last week they got access to that resource from my newsletter list. Okay, so here's what I did a couple of weeks ago. So a few things I'm going to just point out. This I did all with thin cuts. I didn't use Cricut, but you totally could substitute out the flowers for Cricut cuts. But I'm going to show you the things I used here. I have a whole little cart of stuff beside me. And then, okay, so all the greenery here, that's actually melon, is a new thin cut that is coming in the July-August idea book. So you'll be able to see it live tomorrow. I can't actually show the product until tomorrow, but just know there's a thin cut with stencils coming tomorrow, and that is where all of these came from. We're going to use them again today. Then I did use one of my favorite thin cuts. It's still available. You guys have seen me use it lots. I got tons and tons of use out of this. But like I said, so this is the layered flower thin cuts. That's where all of these are going to come from. But like I said, you could totally cut them out with flowers from your Cricut if you would like. Then these pieces here in the middle are from the Slimline Shaker window. So it's the inside piece right here, and it's got this super cute scalloped edge on it. So it is from the annual idea book, and I just ran the papers through my die cutting machine. I seem to have lots of washi stuck on here. But when I look at things like thin cuts, I'm looking for always a thin cut that I know I'll get tons of use out of. A thin cut that is like a basic, like any kind of circle, square, something you can use over and over and over again. That is always what I look for, no matter when it's released. If it's in a little book, like a seasonal book, like a 2-month book, which we're going back to. If it's something that has a great shape, you guys all know I will gravitate to that. So for example, in the April, May, June idea book, some of those things were actually in the card making workshop, right? I loved the little pocket from the Hey Handsome card making workshop. I loved the little star from Hello Darling card making workshop. Those are things that I would get so that I could add them into like my regular rotation. They're easy to adapt to other things. So both of those things, for example, you could use on cards or scrapbooking. So I totally digressed there, but I thought I would just explain to you a little bit about what I look for when I'm shopping through an idea book for like thin cuts, things like that. And then I did also use the stamp set for the Melon Mania promotion. I'm also going to use a little bit of it today. So some of the elements from this layout I'm going to pick up and use in the For Always. Some things I'm going to switch out for the For Always. So I'm going to, for example, pick up this little flower. I loved this little daisy, and then this heart. So just don't forget that Melon Mania ends at the end of June, which is today. So if you're looking to grab things from this promotion, make sure to do that. Okay, so then I'm going to talk about how I substitute, what I'm going to substitute out. So I have pre-cut and picked my papers from For Always. Like I said, if you need to know what that collection actually looks like, there is a video that I did earlier today where, like, when I walked you through my workshop, I show you all the papers from the collection. Okay, so I did the same basic thing here. We've got, you're not going to be able to see it, but I do have a black base and then French vanilla for my, in exchange for this white daisy piece, we're going to go with French vanilla. And then, so the complementary colors that they used when they designed this collection were, there's Desert Rose, Mist, and Toffee are the accenting colors. So you can see them here. So first thing too, you guys have always seen me do also like my stamping sheet, right? Where I'm testing out a new stamp and I'll stamp it and color it if it's that kind of stamp set. But also just when I get a new stamp, right? I try and practice and play with it and do a few things and decide what I'm going to do with it. So this is one of the stamp sets from the promotion. There is a second one which I'll pull over to. So this is called Love Doily, and it's beautiful and it stamps really nicely. I also like the ink blending in the background, so we're going to do a little bit of that today. There's also a couple of really pretty sentiments on here. It says Celebrate Love or Together Forever. We're going to use that on the layout too. And then there's these ones in the background. So I think if I understand correctly, I wasn't a consultant the first time this came out, but I do believe this stamp set is the same from when it originally came out. And these are great stamp sets. So really kind of just very generic, right? Like the same kind of thing that I look for in a thin cut, right? Something you can use over and over and over again, right? So there's lots of uses for this one too. They're a big stamp. You could see it on my block here. I've pre-stamped this because I wanted to decide how I was going to use it before I started my live. Okay, so I have some pieces here, like I said, and so I pre-cut, obviously, with my thin cut, the pieces that I wanted here in the middle. I have my flowers cut in the patterns that I wanted cut, and then I decided I'm going to use Mist as my accent color. So here you can see on the bottom there is a zip strip and then a little skinny piece of shimmer or glitter paper in Melon. So today I didn't want to use a zip strip. I wanted something in Mist. So the best way for me to get something like that was to make it myself, right? So I took one of the long stamps, and obviously it was the floral one I was just showing you, and I stamped it across the length of a piece of French vanilla, and I cut it into a 1/2 inch piece so that I've basically created my own zip strip. So I'm going to add that at the bottom of my layout here. I was just testing it there, so I don't need that anymore. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to add this on the bottom, and you'll see I've also penciled in kind of where my rectangles are going to go. So see, it's just going to take the place of the zip strip across the bottom here. And this time I'm actually going to add another photo to this 12 by 12. So we're going to do 3 photos on here. Still, I'm going to have a 4 by 6. I'm going to have a 3 by 4 and or 3 by 3 and a 4 by 3. So I have a skinny piece of Mist glitter paper here, and I always keep like a section. A section. I don't know why my camera angle is off all of a sudden, but in the package with other pieces that I've added adhesive backing onto just to make it easier, especially when I'm cutting out like little skinny pieces. It makes it way easier. So I'm going to add this on the bottom. This is a full 12-inch length, so I'm just going to trim the edge off in 1 second here. So I have just made a few little pencil marks for myself as to where the boundaries of these 4 rectangles are. So like I said, one is the zigzag paper, which has the damask on the back. This is this beautiful doily paper on the black with the script on the back. And then this is the other side. And then this has the black lace with the damask print over top. And then this is also very pretty too. But because I knew I wanted a lot of stuff on here, I went with the other print. Okay, so now that was all of what, 5 minutes standing or sitting down. I'm going to stand up, which is also going to cause me to have to change the camera a little bit. Okay, so I know you can't see where I've put my markings. I'm just going to move my black cardstock out of the way. My camera is really not going to like all of this white on here, and I'm going to flip this over. This is not, my standing position is not the best for me to stamp, but we're gonna see what we can do here. So I'm just going to move a few pieces out of my way here. And I have the doily on my block already. So my idea is in the 2 sections here where I did ink distressing and splattered the shimmer brush in the background, this time I'm going to do same kind of ink blending in the background, but I'm going to add this stamp set or this stamp with the Mist ink. And so I have my Mist ink and my blending brush. I could have done desert rose also, but I decided when I picked my photos that I wanted to highlight more the mist in all the other parts of the layout. And then I'm going to bring the desert rose in with my florals. So it's kind of hard to keep the camera focused on something. There we go. No. Okay, that might focus on there. So I just have my mist ink and my blending brush, and I'm just going to lay some color in here lightly in the background, and then I'm going to stamp that image over top. So just kind of exactly like this. So lots of it's not going to be seen, but sometimes it's all about the details. Okay, so I'm going to just flip this around. Maybe the camera will try and focus on my pretty little border there. So like I said, I just kind of want it poking out from behind those 4 pieces. Okay, and I'm going to trim this off. Well, we have it like that. And then we're going to ink up the doily and see how this goes. Hopefully, it's sometimes hard because it's actually, I work counter height, so sometimes it's hard with a big image to get a good stamp. Normally, when I'm stamping, I'm over at my side table. So we'll see what happens. And if it's not perfect, it's kind of okay because there's going to be lots of other stuff on the layout, so you probably won't even notice. Okay, I'm going to cover up my mist ink because I don't need it again right now. So super pretty. Okay, so now I'm just going to, you guys, is there anything better than I just started myself a new chamois today, and there's nothing better than wetting your chamois for the first time and throwing away your other one. Okay, so now let's flip that over. Okay, so I'm going to quickly add this to my black background, and then we can start building the layout. So some parts I did beforehand, and then some parts I will do live. But just the last one was very long, so I thought I would cut some of it out, some of the parts that you've seen before. Okay, so there we go, like that. And then we can now put these back in, and I'm going to kind of stagger them and put some on top of the others. And like I said, I am adding more photographs in, and I kind of want them at different levels. So you can see here, right? There's like this one's a little bit lower, these ones are a little bit higher, then this one is a little bit lower. And they just slightly overlap. And I just kind of want about the same distance on either side. So I'll just add my adhesive and then kind of tuck them how I want them. So this one, I want about here. And I'll tuck this one. I love this piece of paper, the black piece of paper with the doilies, just subtly in the background. It's so pretty. And you can see there's actually script on it, so you might want to be careful which direction you put this piece. So it would be super hard to tell, but you can actually put it on upside down. And same with this one. This one obviously has script on it. And this one I want on top of that one. And then this last piece, the lace, I'm going to tuck in the back there. And I'm dropping this one down because I have little pieces that are going to go up here in the corner. So this is how we're going to start this one. I'm just going to double check though that this edge is straight. I'm just going to grab my T-ruler. Sometimes it's hard with the black on the verse mat. So I can actually just there we go. Because I want to kind of elongate this one here so that because I said I'm going to add more photos on there. Hey everybody that's popping on. We're just doing a little scrapping with the For Always. Okay, so now I'm going to actually place my photos on my layout. So same thing, right? I have a 4x6, right? 4x6 and 3x3, right? But this time, like I said, I'm going to add another photo in there. So I have a 4x3 and a 3x3. So these are photos of that annoying little piece of washi tape of obviously me, my mom, and my two sisters. So like I said, I knew when I saw it that I wanted mist to be the accent color. It kind of actually works perfectly with my baby sister's shirt. So that's why I picked it. Thanks, Tina. I think it is going to be pretty. Sometimes, you know, you just gotta like roll the dice. So the fun part about remixing something is, right, you get to pull elements from one parts that you liked, and maybe switch it up. Okay, so I did the flowers with the pattern paper, and you guys know I loved this polka dot paper. So I knew I wanted to do the flowers again with the pattern paper from For Always. So like, look how pretty these turned out. So some of them, like I said, I did adhere them together beforehand, and then we'll do, I left one of every flower not done. But so I picked Desert Rose as my accent color on the flowers, and then I used paper, so the pattern papers, right? You can see that, you'll see them all. And then I used the Desert Rose glitter paper for my centers of my flowers and those fun things. So, and then there's still mist here too, right? So we're gonna do these two flowers down here, and then for the sprigs, I did them with rosemary, which is also one of the accent colors for Always. So we're just going to have some of them kind of peeking out from behind the little clusters. So, like I said, I pulled things from before. So the little doodly heart, I stamped some of these with Desert Rose and trimmed them out so I can add those to my clusters. I stamped from the stamp set with the doily, love doily, this Together Forever, because I thought that kind of went with family. And then I have my little cluster for the top. So I took the same elements, right? So I had a piece of melon glitter paper. So I have mist glitter paper. And then I had 2 pieces of pattern paper that I'm going to add in here. This one, I think we're going to go underneath. And then the mist. And then I have another piece of the pattern paper. So, and look at this fun flower. So that's that little circular flower. It almost looks kind of like cow print, but it's that damask with the French vanilla on the background, and I use desert rose in the background there. So we're going to add that there. I have one that I will assemble over here. And so I'm also going to add a little rosemary sprig up here. And then you guys know I did the little daisies. That was one of my favorite stamps from the Melon Mania. So this time, last time I took the stamp, reversed it over and colored it that way. This time I took the stamp set and I stamped it on my French vanilla. You could do it on white daisy also. And then I just took my blending brush to color the flowers. I wanted that kind of soft coloring in the background. So here's an example using the desert rose, but I'm going to actually use the mist ones in the clusters. So the same. I have, for sure, we'll do these up here like this. So I'm taking some of the things, like I said, from the last one and mixing them in to the new one. So that's why I call it a remix, right? Okay, so here are the flowers that I'm going to put together. So I also did back some of the flowers with French vanilla here. You could see like this big one I did with French vanilla. And then it's got a little glittery center, so we'll put that together. And then I have another one here with that black lace. And this one I want to put over here. Okay, so I'm going to show you again really quickly how I shaped the flowers. So these ones I didn't actually shape, I just assembled them. But, so you can use anything. I just wanted a little bit of movement and shaping of my flowers. So I'm going to adhere the 2 pieces together before I shape them. So with this thin cut, you can see very easily how the pieces go together because the petals are quite distinctive. So you know if you are in the right spot or not. So you just have to turn it until the flowers line up, which is one thing I absolutely love about these thin cuts. Okay, so I've got French vanilla and then the script on top. There's my little glitter paper piece. So I'm just going to grab my Versamat again, which I moved out of the way. So you can do this with your bone folder, your piercing tool, anything really rounded. You can actually even do it just with like the end of a pencil if you're careful. So you can see how my piercing tool is rounded. So I can just roll in the middle of the flower and you can see already how much depth I've got to the flower, and then I can roll on the petals. And then I'm going to roll it back over, or flip it over, I guess, and I'm going to roll in the center. And so what that does is then it brings everything back. So now I've got some dimension. So it actually looks like a flower, right? Like a daisy, like daisy leaves almost. You know how they curl? So now all I have to do is add some 3D foam behind my center. So this one is going to go up here, this one off to the side. And then, like I said, for this little round one, I actually didn't do any shaping. I left it just kind of flat, and then just added my dimension with my foam tape. So I love the way the patterned flowers turned out. Same thing, I'm just gonna add my desert rose center here on 3D foam. So this one is gonna go up there. And then I just have this last one left. And so I'm gonna shape the center, right? So it just kind of pops up like that. I can roll the center here. Like I said, you can do this kind of with anything that's round. So, and just be careful with your pattern paper because it's not as strong or thick as your cardstock. So if you're not careful, you can rip it. So I'm going to adhere this flat, just adhering it in the middle so that the little mist layer underneath, you might be able to see it just kind of poking out. Then the little center I'm going to actually add on 3D foam. And like I said, I curled it the other way to give it some variety. So just kind of like a fun little combination there. So I probably will add some journaling strips after, just like the Melon Mania one. So I might actually add this up in the top cluster there. Just one moment, I dropped something. It's not important. Okay, so now all I have to do is kind of assemble everything and then we are done. So I'm going to start in this top cluster. And yes, I definitely think I'm going to move this up. And I'm going to add a heart down here. And put the little daisy up there. I have another leaf for down here. I do have one more heart if we need it. So by kind of just placing everything where I think I want it, then it makes it easier to make some decisions if something's not exactly where I want it or how I thought it was going to look. So just like that, I'm going to grab my glue dots because you all know how much I love glue dots. So, oh, thank you, Tina. Sorry. If you see any spam in the video, just ignore it. I will get rid of it after. It's just much harder to do when you're actually on. So I'm going to pop this up on a little bit of 3D foam. I'm glad you liked it, Tina. So, like I said, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, right? Take something from something you've done in the past. I just dumped my glue bottle into the garbage can. I'll have to remember to pull that out. take something from something you've done in the past that you know you liked and add it to something in the future, right? That's really what the whole remix idea is about. So this one I'm also going to pop up on 3D foam, and we're going to add a sequin to this one after. So I grabbed gold sequins, and that's what we're going to add in to these clusters. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to try and okay. Okay, so there we go. Sorry. So that is super pretty. We'll add our sequin in there at the end. But so now, before I start adhering my clusters down, I'm actually going to adhere my photographs down. Thank you, Jean. Like I said, it's a great concept, right? Because if there's something you know that you like about something else, there's a reason that you like it, whether it's because the page is well balanced or it has elements that you really like. Pick and choose the elements, right? Like I didn't do everything the same. I pick and chose the parts from the other layout that I liked and recreated them just in a different version. So I'm going to tuck this over. Like I said, I wanted to try and add one more photo onto the layout, right? So how do I make that happen? And it's not like necessarily I have more room, right? I didn't create more room at all. It's just I reconfigured everything just a little bit. So also here, I'm going to slightly overlap my photos, and my cluster is going to come down over top with that doily just kind of poking out in the background. So then I'll add my third photo here with just a little bit of everything poking out here. Okay, like I said, I'll add my journaling strips in here later because I do know that that is how I will journal on this one. So I'm going to start creating my cluster here. I'm going to tap a glue dot on the bottom. So I also, when I'm building a cluster, will try and think about what's at the very back, right? So I know I want the rosemary leaves kind of poking out from the very back. So that's the first thing I'll put down. So they're in the spots that I know I want them. Right, I know my journaling strips will go here. So, and I know that I knew that I wanted the big flower on there because I love that one. So I will add my flower in next. And I also have a tendency to cut some extras just in case, right? I feel in the end I want to add more in. I say you can never have too many things to add in. You could just add them into a little package for later. Okay, so this daisy, again, same thing. I'm going to put it on a dot. Add it up here, right? And so same thing too, I said when I did it last time, each thing in all the clusters, I kind of tried to make sure they were in each one. I actually think I'm going to put the heart there. That's not originally where I thought I would put it. Because I also know lots of the doily is going to be hidden up there, I kind of want more of it showing down here. So I don't necessarily want to cover it all up. But if I do my journaling strips here, I actually think I will add it down there. So just like that. And then all we have to do is build our last cluster. This photo though is not straight. It's also not helpful that my camera view is not straight. Okay, I feel like, let's just check this one. I'm actually going to, like I said, take it off the Versamat. I'm having a hard time with the black on black. So, there we go. There we go. Because sometimes it's hard to tell if it's the cardstock or the Versamat. So there we go. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start this cluster. It's going to dovetail the end. And I am not going to cut that off just yet. I'm going to decide how long I want this. So now that I pulled that all apart, now I have to put it back together. So this is how this last cluster is going to go. And this leaf is going to go over here. Okay. So I'm liking that. I'm going to actually move the flower off my head, but okay. There we go. Okay. So that is awesome. Just like that. I'm going to add my 3D foam to this one and not adhere it yet. So I can move it if I need to. I'm actually going to just leave this like this because most of it's going to get covered up anyway. So, and it just kind of then connects it right into the rest there. Add my sprig. I'm going to put my foam here on the back of this heart because I know I'm doing that right in there. There we go. And I actually think I'm going to pop this one up on 3D foam too. And then if I have, because I said I'm going to come back and do the sequins in the middle of these little flowers too. If I feel like there's any spaces I need to fill in, I can use those to fill in spaces, right? You can do the same things with dots, any kind of embellishment. Okay. So, and I think that it's fun that there's all kinds of different elements, right? So a little bit of mixing and matching. I need my glue dots for my sequins. Move this out of the way. This one too, because you never know when you're going to need more than one adhesive. Okay, so like I said, I thought I would go gold because it was completely different than the layout, and I thought it would kind of stand out. So I'm gonna just dump some in here. So for the centers of these little daisies, I want a relatively small sequin. So we'll see what we can get out of here. So there's one. I know I have 3 of them on here, and then I'll use, like I said, the other sizes to kind of sprinkle them into my clusters. So you can play with all the different sizes of embellishments, right? So, and it's a different kind of glitter. Oh, thank you. It's a different kind of glitter than the glitter paper, right? It's got a totally different finish. So no different than, I also added some sparkle in with the shimmer brush, right? It's a different sparkle than the glitter paper or the sequins. It's just kind of another little layer there. Okay, and then one up here. Just like that. Oh, I love it. Okay, so now I can just add in a few little sequins here. And this one we'll call done. So don't forget, if there's still things you want from Melon Mania, make sure to grab them, because we are at the end of June, which is absolutely crazy to say. So, oops, I just dropped that one talking. And I am going for the shinier ones, more of the shinier ones and a little bit fewer of like the matte ones, but I still have both finishes here. There's also oh, it's July 1st there already. Somebody from Australia. Thank you. Yes, it is Canada Day tomorrow, which is fun. So I think I might actually just relax all day. Not really, but it has gotten crazy hot again here today. So, okay, so now I'm going to sprinkle these in and see if I need more. So I'm going to add just a few right here because I feel like that's a little bit of a funny space. So, and it just kind of, I think, will finish off all of these clusters. So, oh, I love it. So a few over here. So I have one there, right, with that flower. So I'm going to add a few over here, and I'm actually going to add one up there too. Now I need to add one more because that is a weird number for me. So there we go. Oh, that one must not have had a glue dot on it. There we go. Okay, so now one up here, and I want one more little tiny one, I think, for that top cluster. And then one more medium-sized one. There we go. Okay, guys, we are coming to the end here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this remix. You guys never know, you might see something more coming with this one. But it was fun. So like I said, the whole idea behind what I wanted to kind of show you was to take parts of something that you've created before and use them again, right? You spent all that time creating something pretty. So there's that top cluster. Here's the bottom one. There's that one. So like I said, I'll add my journaling in there. So here's the original. Oh, you're very welcome, Jean. So here's the original, and then here's the remix. Like I said, it was super fun. I love doing things like this. This is one of my favorite things to do, is kind of just try and help you reimagine something in a different way. So I hope you guys all... Sorry, just one sec. I have to turn this light down because it's an overhead light and it's like super bad when you go straight on. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that and have a great weekend, and happy scrapping. And Tina says, you are so inspiring. I tend to struggle with thinking outside the box. This is really beautiful. See, you don't have to think necessarily outside the box. Take parts of the box that you already liked and use them somewhere else. There are reasons that layouts and cards are appealing to us, right? It's because of certain design elements we're attracted to, right? Like, it's the same concept as a piece of fabric, right? If you buy a piece of fabric and you buy it again, it's because there's something about it that is appealing and you really like. So take those things out of things that you are creating and use them again. So hopefully this was helpful and you guys enjoyed it a little bit, and I can hardly wait to see if you recreate it. If somebody recreates it, make sure you can add it back here in the comments, a photograph, and just say hashtag remix. And like I said, if you need the Melon color palette chart and you don't have it yet, you can either click in the link in the description above, or if you've commented chart, I will come back and add the link underneath your comment where you can find it. So hopefully you guys find that useful and have a great day. Bye, guys.